It's on Sportsnet. Presented by Honda at the Model Clearout event. It's the best time to team up with a Honda you'll love.
Welcome to Kansas City as the Royals and the Blue Jays will play Game 3 of this 3-game series. And there were thunderstorms early. Blue Jays batting practice was interrupted, but now we have a beautiful night. It's 27 degrees at the start of play here in Kansas City. Kauffman Stadium, one of the best ballparks in all of baseball. They have split the first 2 games, as we mentioned last night. They got a big home run from Kevin Pillar in the 8th inning, a 2-run shot that gave them a 6-5 lead, and they would carry that to a victory. Take a look at the lineup for John Gibbons' Blue Jays. They are trying to get to that 500 mark, 53 and 65. Curtis Granderson, top of the order. Then down in that 5th spot, Russell Martin continues to swing the bat well. He has inched over 200 for the season over his last 10 games, hitting .345. And right behind him, Kevin Pillar against the Royals has worn him out. His home run last night was his 8th hit in 25 at-bats. And it was his first road home run of the season and his first game-winning RBI.
Blue Jays again still hitting those home runs late in the ballgame. They will face Jorge Lopez tonight, making his Royals debut. His first start of 2018, 11th big league appearance. He was acquired by the Royals right at the trade deadline from Milwaukee. Made a couple of starts down at the AAA level and will now get a start up here. He was recalled this afternoon. This is his 7th trip to the major leagues this season. All of his action was with the Milwaukee Brewers as a reliever.
Lopez is set. Granderson is in the box. Here's the first pitch of the game. It is in there for a strike, and we are underway. Curtis started in the game. He went 0 for 3 with a walk. He scored a run. He scored the 3rd Blue Jay run of the ball game last night in the 3rd inning. Another breaking ball for strike 2. Lopez is 25 years old. He was drafted and signed by the Milwaukee Brewers. At the time of his draft, he was the 2nd highest pitcher drafted out of Puerto Rico. He got time in the big leagues in 2015 and got a 1 game in 2017. And as Pat mentioned, he pitched out of the bullpen for Milwaukee this season. And the breaking ball, it's fouled off.
He's got an excellent arm, and they target guys in other organizations when they're ready to make trades with big arms. Dayton Moore, the general manager of the Kansas City Royals, really value guys who have big arms. And Lopez, you can tell he was a high draft pick, a 2nd-round draft pick, and you can see he's got big league stuff.
Well, he's got a nice pitcher's body, 6'3", weighs 195, long arms, and he generates a lot of momentum as he drives toward home plate. That hit right on the knob of the bat. Anderson's fortunate that he chokes up on the bat, didn't have that finger over the end of the bat.
That's a shock, you know, if that ever happens to you, because you're expecting that ball to hit your hands and start to hurt that thing right off the bottom of the bat.
Breaking ball. It's a full count to the leadoff man. Got a Grichuk in that 2 spot. Grichuk did not start in the game. He came in as a pinch hitter in the 9th inning in last night's game. There's a drive to right field. Bonifacio is over. He makes a running catch. Granderson is retired. 1 away. Well, Kansas City has really played well defensively. They've played 129 consecutive airless games, and they've got a bright star at shortstop.
Yeah, keep an eye on Alberto Mondesi, 13 consecutive start at shortstop. He came up about 2 months ago, recalled from the minor leagues, and he's played every game but 3. He's switched back between second base and shortstop. But what a thrilling player. The Kansas City Royals very excited about the tools that he has. Last night they were on display both offensively and defensively.
Grichuk goes after the first pitch and hits a high fly ball into right field. Bonifacio makes another catch. 2 fly ball outs here for Lopez to start his tenure with the Blue Jays. With the Royals. Here are the numbers for Lopez in his career. As we mentioned, he came up in 2015. decent ERA. He hasn't had a lot of innings. You can see he's been in 13 games, just 2 major league starts.
His first 2 appearances in the big leagues were back in September and October of 2015. They were both starts. Since then, he's been a reliever coming out of the bullpen. They sent him down to AAA to stretch him out just a little bit more. Pitched into the 6th inning in his last start. The Royals see him as a starter. They don't see him as a reliever, where he has pitched most of his games in the big leagues.
This is Justin Smoke, the first baseman. I tell you what, you couldn't ask for a better catcher to throw to you your first game with a new team. Sal Perez, the 4-time Gold Glover, back behind the plate to help Lopez get acclimated here in Kansas City.
He takes it personal, doesn't he, when his pitchers don't do well?
Yeah, it's been a tough season on him, and he has high expectations for everybody on his team. Breaking ball outside. 2-1 now to Smoke. Justin had a pair of hits last night. He finished up 2 for 4 in the ball game. A couple of strikeouts and a walk. He hit his 32nd double in the 3rd inning in last night's game.
Still don't want to pitch to him.
Yeah, and you can see why. I mean, Teoscar's hitting 4th. Teoscar Hernandez is hitting 4th, and he just has a lot of strikeouts. He's hit 241, so as opposed to challenging Smoke, they'll take their chances with the guy behind him. This is high into the outfield. Center fielder Brett Phillips over into the alley, makes the catch. Good start for Jorge Lopez. 3 up, 3 down, no problem. Top of the first. Marco Estrada will take the hill when we come back to Kansas City. The Kansas City Royals won a World Series in 2015. It's his 9th year in Kansas City. He managed 5 seasons with the Milwaukee Brewers, and he was a longtime coach of the Atlanta Braves. Spent 12 years with Bobby Cox and the Braves. Lucas Duda, the Royals' first baseman, back in the lineup. A 7-game hit streak. He's 8 for 26 with a double, home run, 3 RBIs, and then down in the number 9 spot. Alberto Mondesi, his career against the Blue Jays is a good one. His father played for the Blue Jays, but Mondesi had a career-high 4 hits in the game last night.
Got to keep him off the bases. He is electric. Marco Estrada for his 21st start of the season. Last time out, just 5 1/3 innings versus Tampa Bay, tied a season high of 5 earned runs allowed. That was coming off that stellar start against Seattle, when he pitched into the 8th inning and gave up just 1 hit and 1 earned run. For his career versus Kansas City, he has a losing record, but he's pitched some good games against them. Just a .326 earned run average against the Royals.
Up and in, ball and a strike to you with Merrifield, the leadoff man. Estrada has done his best work against Kansas City in the postseason. Back in 2015, he was terrific. He pitched game 1 of the ALCS and took a loss in that game. Gave up 3 earned runs in 5 1/3, but maybe his finest work in the postseason was game 5. ALCS, the Blue Jays had taken a beating at 14-2 the night before, and they were on the verge of elimination. But Estrada was terrific. 7 2/3, 3 hits, and just a solo home run to Sal Perez.
I think he's at his best when he is establishing the fastball, especially early, mixing in that cutter with the fastball. And that will set up his changeup later on.
That's a good pitch. Well, we have seen a very small strike zone in each of the last 2 games here, and you can see all 3 pitches appear to be in the strike zone. Alex Gordon is on deck. Full count to Merrifield. Ball 4, lead off walk. Estrada, you can see his frustration with the strike zone. I mean, he's a guy that has to get those borderline calls. And John Gibbons is already a little frown on his face. Chris Siegel is the home plate umpire tonight.
You said borderline. That one didn't look borderline. That looked like it was right there. I think it really surprised the batter, the catcher, and the pitcher.
It was a big border. This is Alex Gordon, the left fielder. He went around.
You got to get these guys looking for that fastball, and I think that's why it's important to establish the fastball early. You got to get them looking for it, so you'll get a lot of check swings. You'll get a lot of those hitters popping that ball up and out in front.
There's a changeup. He pulls foul. That's quickly 0-2 on Gordon. Alex Gordon is now 34 years old. He grew up in Lincoln, Nebraska. Went to the University of Nebraska, and that's where the Royals drafted him. He was the 2nd player overall in the draft in 2005. Maley with the block. Look back behind the plate. Danny Jansen, the rookie, has caught the first 2 games of this series. But with Estrada and the fact that the catchers called the game for Marco Estrada, I think John Gibbons felt it was best to have Maley back there to handle. Danny's done a nice job so far in just 2 games.
Very impressive through his first 2 games. So Marco Estrada a little bit different. He'll at times pitch backwards.
Fastball foul tip into the mid of Maley. That's the first strikeout, first out of the inning.
There's the value of that fastball I was talking about. You have to be able to throw it early, I think, in the game. First time through the lineup, use it, establish it, tell them that you're going to use that fastball. That'll set up your curveball and it'll set up your changeup. Gordon will not come up with that high fastball. Good idea for Marco to elevate it there.
One away. Sal Perez, the catcher, hitting in the 3rd spot. Perez had a pair of doubles in last night's game, drove in a run. Merrifield at first will run. He has 26 stolen bases this season. Kansas City's got to be aggressive. They don't have the kind of offense that you stand toe-to-toe and slug with you. Kansas City had 4 stolen bases in the game last night. This ball is hit deep to left field, and this ball is going to go. Sal Perez, a 2-run home run, his 20th of the season, has given the Kansas City Royals an early lead.
Just the 2nd hit by Sal Perez in his career against Marco Estrada. Looked like he was going to try and slip that fastball by him. But Big Sal's been swinging the bat well this series. Been robbed a couple of times by great defensive plays by the Blue Jays. They weren't going to catch that one. That is a long way to left center field for his 20th homer.
That gives him 4 consecutive seasons of 20 or more home runs, and this is a no-doubter. Got too much in the middle of the plate.
Yeah, he knew it as soon as he hit it. He started to get into his home run jog. You mentioned they don't hit a lot of home runs. They just got over the 100 barrier the other day.
This is the first baseman, Lucas Duda, with a 7-game hit streak. Duda not in the lineup last night. He checks his swing and fouls it in Blue Jays dugout. Duda was 1 for 3 in the opener on Monday night. He singled and scored. He also walked in that game.
These are the 2 players I think you have to worry about when it comes to power on the Kansas City Royals. They're the only players, Perez, good pitch, and Duda, who have double-digit home runs.
Well, Marco gets that curveball in there for strike 3. 2 outs and nobody on. So let's take a look at the defense behind Marco Estrada. In the outfield, you've got some speed in Hernandez, Pilar, and Grichuk, and Richard Urena is getting the start at second.
Yeah, get the start at second base. He's checking out his card right there, where to play these hitters. He's been jumping back and forth between shortstop and second base. John Gibbons wanted to give him a game today at second base, give Devin Travis a night off. So Urena will get the start tonight.
They've got a little bit of flexibility in the middle of their order, and it's going to even get better when Lourdes Gurriel Jr. is activated. And he's not too far away. We saw him taking ground balls and moving around, running, and he looks like he's probably within a week of being activated. There's a changeup, and Herrera slings it off the netting over the Blue Jays dugout.
If you're a young player and you've never faced Marco Estrada before, and you're not really sure what his changeup does, that's what's going to happen. You see a lot of awkward swings. You see players lose their bat because it's one of the best changeups I have ever seen. He throws it with such conviction and great arm speed. And if you're not familiar with it, things like that happen.
Yeah, he'll really have you off balance, as you see Herrera. 53 games with the Reds before he was acquired on waivers by Kansas City. Estrada's ahead 0-2, and that's a pretty good pitch. Another pitch that looks like it's a strike. Right to smoke. He'll go to the bag, and that'll end the inning. But Kansas City takes advantage of a leadoff walk. Sal Perez, the catcher, hits his 20th home run of the season. It's 2-0 Kansas City.
Blue Jays members, log in to My Blue Jays and enter the code MBJ8235 to earn My Blue Jays points just for watching tonight's broadcast. Your entry box can be found on your My Blue Jays homepage. Your code must be entered by 4 a.m. Buck.
Thank you very much, Hazel. It is Bark in the Park night. That's why you see the dogs here with the fans. They had a chance to bring their dogs to the game tonight. Oscar Hernandez goes after the first pitch and fouls it off. Teoscar last night was 0 for 3. He walked and scored. In the second inning, average at 241. A little cutter on the outside corner for strike 2.
They've asked him to use his fastball just a little bit more. He can sink it or he can four seam that fastball. That time he elevated it. Now he's probably going to go back downstairs somewhere. Nope, back up.
Too high. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The leadoff man here in the top of the second inning.
See, I think that's a wasted pitch.
Not close enough.
No, it's not close enough to get the guy to hit, and you pick it up right out of his hand. And if a pitcher only has around 100 pitches to work with, why waste them?
Inside,
Look
now
at
it's
that.
a full count.
From 0-2 to 3-2.
Trying to be too fine. Russell Martin is on deck. Russell's swinging the bat well lately. Here's the 3-2 pitch. Right on the corner, driven to right and deep. Bonifacio's not going to get it. Up against the wall, plays it on the hop, and here it is back to second. Teoscar Hernandez with an opposite field double, his 26th double. That's how the Blue Jays start the second.
Bonifacio did not get a good read on that ball. I don't know if he was going to catch it even if he broke. But Teoscar's got power the other way. That time he went right through that baseball, did not get underneath it. See how he can handle the barrel of that bat? At times he'll get underneath it. That time he went right through it and short hops the wall in right field for extra bases. Good comeback at bat for Teoscar.
Yeah, he was down 0-2 and he ends up with a leadoff double. Russell Martin hitting .345 over his last 10 games. Goes after the first pitch and bounces it to third. Escobar takes a peek at Hernandez and Martin is out. Ground out 5-3. Jorge Lopez making his first start for the Royals. He was picked up in that trade for Mike Moustakas, and they like what they have gotten in a young pitcher.
Yeah, spent the majority of last season in Double-A with the Brewers, stretching him out for a starter. It's fastball, curveball. That's what you're going to get from him. An occasional slider, an occasional changeup. His fastball, though, he's got two different. A two-seamer that he can sink, and he's throwing that more often, and then that four-seam fastball. Those are his two best pitches, the fastball and the curveball.
Kevin Pillar. He goes after the first pitch. That's a base hit to center. Hernandez is being waved around. There'll be no throw, and Kevin Pillar has cut into that Royals lead. Picks up another RBI, his 45th.
Hit a huge home run in last night's game on an 0-2 pitch. 0-2 hanging curveball. The eventual game winner for the Blue Jays in the 8th inning, and doesn't waste any time here. His first at bat tonight. Fastball out over the plate. He saw that scouting report that Lopez likes to throw a lot of fastballs. Gets the Blue Jays a run closer.
2-1 now for Ledmus Diaz. Pillar with 13 steals. He's only been caught once, but you got the best catcher in baseball behind the plate in Sal Perez.
Yeah, this is not a good combination to try and steal against. Lopez is very quick to the plate, and Sal Perez is the best throwing catcher in the American League.
Yeah, Ned Yost, the manager of the Royals, was a former catcher, and he marveled at how quickly Perez can get rid of the ball. If a catcher throws too flat from the time it touches his glove to the time it hits the second baseman's glove, that's very good, very strong. Perez has been timed at 1.72, 1.73, which is off the charts. For a big man at 6'3", weighs about 245, he is very quick and very accurate behind the plate.
That's Gold Glove material right there. If you can throw that quick. The numbers just don't add up to try and steal.
No, they don't. It has to be a very unusual situation where you're going to gamble. But Sal Perez has thrown out 19 base runners this season. 19 of 37. He's caught over 50%. And even Gold Glovers need a cheat sheet. The looper into right. Bonifacio has it measured. He makes the catch. Diaz is retired. Might have been a little slider off the end of the bat. Mentioned Lopez. He is 25 years old. At the time he was drafted, he went in the second round. He was the 70th player picked overall. At the time of his draft, he was the top prospect in Puerto Rico. Drafted out of high school.
worked his way up the farm system of the Milwaukee Brewers, and last season he was ranked their #2 prospect. So a pretty good haul, I think, for the Kansas City Royals when they traded Mike Moustakas to Milwaukee.
We got Brett Phillips, the center fielder, and Jorge Lopez. A couple of good parts for a guy that was going to be a free agent at the end of the year. Luke Maile getting a start behind the plate. There's that good curveball.
It's a slow curveball, and you got to really wait on it. Hitters have only hit a $125 against that curveball this year.
Manny playing for the first time since Sunday. Luke was 0 for 2 in that game against Tampa Bay. But as always, he did a nice job catching in that 2-1 win.
Catching and throwing, and he's got his family on his mind right now. His wife expecting their first baby any day now.
Oh, and 2 outs. Fly ball to left field. Alex Gordon moseys over to the alley, makes the catch. The Blue Jays get to Lopez. Oscar Hernandez hit an opposite field double. He's at second when Kevin Pillar singles up the middle. Chases home Teoscar. It's a 2-1 ball game. The Royals lead it.
His 26th double there back in the second inning. But on defense, he continues to be a work in progress. His misadventures in left field have been well documented, including last night's missed opportunity late in the ball game to record an out on that ball in foul territory. Hernandez told me that while he has been watching video to correct mistakes, the one thing that's been helpful is shagging balls during batting practice, as he's not doing it for just one group. He's out there over 30 minutes a day shagging for 2 groups at BP. Outfield coach Tim Lieber told me that for Hernandez, this is the best way to simulate real game action than, say, hitting fungos. Hernandez is able to work on reading the ball off a hitter's bat. You're forced to play the slice. He's able to work on taking better routes and getting behind the ball and catching it out front. Hernandez continues to keep a positive outlook, Buck. He says, quote, "I know what I have to do. I just need to execute, but things will get better."
They will get better if you work at it. There's no question about that. And he is putting in the time.
Do you know where he takes his fly balls?
Center field.
Out in center field.
Why is that?
Well, he was saying the other day that whenever he takes balls in left field, anything that's hit out there goes into the stands. So in center field, he gets a better read on it. The ball stays in the ballpark a little bit more. So he'll spend all of his time out there shagging and reading the balls off the bat.
This is Jorge Bonifacio, the right field. Bonifacio hitting just .207 for the season. He was a cleanup hitter in last night's game, had an RBI double in the 7th off Thomas Pannone.
Not a lot of at-bats for Bonifacio. He missed the first 80 games this year. Violated MLB's drug prevention and treatment policy, so he missed 80 games.
We mentioned Pannone. He has been sent back to the minor leagues. They want Pannone to start. So Tim Meza has taken Pannone's spot in the bullpen, and Thomas will go down and resume his role as a starter. Popped up Maley with the mask off. He's got room behind home plate, and he makes the catch. Bonifacio's retired on the foul pop.
Well, everybody knows that the changeup is what makes Marco Estrada, and his opponent's average before the All-Star break, it was 255. Post All-Star break, that's more like it for Marco Estrada at 172. And he's been battling some injuries this year. He's had a blister, he's had some back problems. He also had to be put on the disabled list with some hip problems. But we all know when he is on, it's in there for him to pitch effectively.
Well, we talked about his success in the postseason, and he has really put together a great postseason resume. For his career, he's got a 2.64 postseason ERA. And we mentioned the great games he pitched, especially the Game 5 against the Royals, and then again the next year against Texas. This has popped up again. Another pop-up into right field. Urania calling for it. Second baseman out into the outfield to make the catch. Well, that's a good indicator of Estrada's ability to disrupt the timing of the hitters.
Yeah, it always is when you get those lazy fly balls like that. You mentioned the great work that Marco has done in his career in the postseason. Don't you think some teams would be interested if they need some pitching to give the Blue Jays a call?
Absolutely. He's got a lot of experience, and we mentioned a great game against Kansas City. Blue Jays were down 3-1 in the series, Game 5, and he just absolutely shut the door to extend the game and push it back here to Kansas City for Game 6. Up and away. In 2016, he pitched a terrific game in the opener of the division series against the Rangers down in Texas. 8 1/3, 4 hits, just a single run. Didn't walk a batter and struck out 6. Those are his career numbers. He is 2 games over 500 for the Blue Jays.
Do you know why I think he's good in the playoffs? What kind of pitching staffs do you usually see in the playoffs? Power pitchers from first guy to the last guy. Marco's a little different. He's a change of pace, if you will, if I can use that word. He's got the great changeup, but it's different. So the hitters are ready for all that 97, 98 mile an hour stuff, and then here comes Marco painting the corners and changing speeds and really tying up those hitters in knots.
This is Alcides Escobar, the third baseman. He waits on that changeup and hits a fly ball to right. No problem for Grichuk, no problem for Estrada in the second. The Royals retired in order.
Defending champion Will Power goes for 3 straight victories at the ABC Supply 500. Sunday at 1:30 Eastern, 10:30 a.m. Pacific Time on Sportsnet 1 and Sportsnet 360.
Thank you very much, Hazel. Now that is a big bark in the park right there. Could have rode that thing into the park. Dogs are here tonight. Fans get to bring their dogs and enjoy the game. And you can see some of them get special treatment. Probably even getting some of that Italian ice, little lemonade ice for that big dog.
Have you ever noticed dogs look like their owners? You ever noticed that?
Do you have a dog?
Yes.
Do you have a dog?
Yes, yes.
Let me see a picture.
It's got blonde hair.
Oh, I bet. Now, come
See?
on. Look,
little
what is that?
face.
Yeah.
Little face. I'm talking about the face.
That looks like a rabbit.
So does that guy.
This is Richard Urania. Urania, the second baseman tonight. He's the number 9 hitter. Yeah. They're sending out tweets to show their dog at the ballpark tonight. Let's take a look at this. Now, that's a big, nice, comfortable dog. The owner's just having a good time sitting there. They're all dressed up in their jerseys, too. Little dog jerseys. Bandanas.
This has become so popular around baseball.
Where do we see it? You know, we saw in Philadelphia, we saw the basketball coach from Villanova.
Jay Wright.
Jay Wright
Jay
had
Wright
his dog
was
there.
with his dog.
He had
sitting
his
out.
dog. Yeah. Jay Wright had his dog at the ballpark. Ripped into right field. This is going to be extra bases. Urania is around first. He's headed for second. Bonifacio plays it back in. Another leadoff double. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. It was one of the biggest Bush League things I've seen in a long time. He hit Urania. He hit Acuna with the first pitch of the game just because he's hot. Made no sense, and he hurt the kid. And I have no time for that. Just because a guy's getting hits off you, you're going to hit him. Gordon into foul territory. He makes the catch. Granderson's retired. Urania has to hold his ground at second. But he was thrown out of the game, and I agree with it. But it's such a shame. Acuna could have become the first Braves player to homer in 6 straight games. And his cousin is playing third base, Alcides Escobar. And I asked Escobar about Ronald Acuna Jr. He says, man, he said he grew about a foot 2 years ago. And the Escobar family, Alcides is a cousin of Calvin Escobar, former pitcher for the Blue Jays. And they are a very talented family. But right now, the star of the family is Ronald Acuna Jr.
So he has one at bat, first pitch of the ball game, hits him in the elbow, and I hope it's not broken or anything like that. It looked like it could have been. He tried to stay in the game, tried to play the bottom of the inning, then walked off.
Yeah.
So
He took his position in center field and recognized he couldn't play, so he walked off the field. Randall Grichuk hits a little flare into center field, and that's going to drop in front of Phillips. Boy, he made a nice play. Here's the throw to the plate. It is. Oh, what a play by Phillips. Urania read it well. He broke as soon as he recognized that Phillips wasn't going to catch it, but Phillips made a heck of a play on the shortstop.
And I was all ready to say what a great read by Urania. He read it perfectly, takes off, but Phillips even better. Short hops it. This is going to be a second outfield assist. And there's Perez at the plate. He gave Urania a lane to slide, but then he catches the short hop, applies the tag right there before he gets to the plate. Just an excellent defensive play. You talked about this team, the Royals, playing airless baseball now for what, 15 straight games?
They come out and practice like we were talking about with Hernandez. This Royal team practices, they throw to bases every second day from the outfield. And that is living proof that if you practice, you can get better. What a play by Phillips. First of all, to come up with it on the short hop. He knew he wasn't going to get it, but he stayed on his feet. And then he was able to take the short hop and made a terrific throw to Perez. Gordon threw out Russell Martin in the second inning of the opener of this series on Monday night. A terrific throw to the plate. But Gordon's one of the best outfield throwers we have seen in years.
He's been doing that for a long time. That's just Phillips' second. Normally an infielder playing some outfield in this series. Hey, when you've got that big guy behind the plate right there, just get it close. Sal Perez will do the rest.
Can you imagine what he would have been like in the air where you could block the plate?
You'd never score. He'd be the modern day Mike Scioscia.
Yes, he would be. 2-1, 2 outs. Breaking ball for strike 2.
Mike Scioscia was known around baseball as the guy who could block anybody off the plate except Norm Charlton. He was the only one who ran him over.
He didn't expect Charlton to run him over. Charlton, a pitcher, of course. 2-2 pitch to Smoke in the dirt. Good read by Grichuk. He moves up 90 feet. Well, I tell you what, you got to be heads up till you take an extra base on Perez. That ball didn't get that far away from him, but Grichuk broke immediately. It's a wild pitch charge to Lopez.
You're standing out at second base. You can see the flight of the ball, especially on a breaking ball, if it's going to bounce in front of home plate. Randall read that perfectly, and he's able to advance. Now with a left-handed hitter, he can get way off of third base.
Breaking ball hit high in the air to center field. Right fielder Bonifacio moves over into the alley. He makes the catch, and the inning is over. So the Blue Jays get a leadoff double. He's thrown out at the plate on a terrific throw by Brett Phillips. Pitching staff. We thought we'd show you the wins by the starters this season. Jay Happ leads the Blue Jays in wins. He made 20 starts for the Jays. He obviously has been traded to the Yankees. Then Marco Estrada, he is second with 5 wins. Stroman has 4 wins, and 2 of the other pitchers have 3 apiece. But it's been kind of a disappointing season for the starting staff. It was thought to be a strength of this ball club coming out of spring training, and it certainly hasn't played itself out like that.
Yeah, I remember coming out of spring training, it's like we've got 5 starters that can all give you plenty of innings and give you plenty of decisions. It hasn't happened that way for the Blue Jays just yet. There's a lot of decisions coming out of the bullpen this year. A lot of changes also with the starting staff. Had that quick shot there. Sean Reed-Foley's back. Sam Gaviglio's here. Ryan Baracki's here. 3 players who weren't even with the team at the beginning of the season.
Ball and a strike to Adalberto Mondesi. He had a career game last night. First time he had 4 hits in a game. Also the first time he had 3 stolen bases in a game. All while batting 9th in the order. He became the 5th Royal with 4 hits and 3 steals in a game, and first since Jose Offerman in '98.
What an electric player. And they've been waiting for a while for him to show this kind of flair, especially on the bases. Extra base hits have been few and far between for Mondesi coming. With the last couple of nights, he's had some doubles.
It's a high fly ball to left, the shortstop. Diaz calls for it, makes the catch, 1 away. Tough time of the night here for defensive players, anything in the air, and you're going to get a lot of balls in the air with Estrada on the mound. But it is still very twilight here in Kansas City, and it's a very gray sky. And trying to pick out a baseball from that background, it's very challenging. Four straight outs in the air for Estrada. Back to the top of the order with Merrifield, the second baseman. He drew a leadoff walk in the first and scored on the 2-run home run by Perez.
Outside.
2-0 now. Merrifield is 4 for 8 in the series with a pair of walks. That's a good changeup. He can float it in there for a strike almost at will.
He's not afraid to throw it at any point in the count. You might see it at the beginning. You might see it at the end of the at-bat. You might see it in the middle. Then he throws that fastball, and it's just 89 miles an hour, but it looks like it's 95. Can't catch up to it.
A little extra hop at the end as well. Here's the 2-2 pitch, strike 3 call. Right at the knees, and Estrada finally gets one of those borderline calls to go his way. Third strikeout of the ball game.
He was looking for the changeup again, and he crosses him up and paints that fastball right there. Watch Luke Maley hold the glove there and frame it up for a long time so he can get the call. That's what happens when you establish the fastball, start using your changeup, and then those hitters are guessing with you.
Gordon, it's a fly ball to center. It's carrying. Pilar runs it down just shy of the warning track in center. Kevin Pilar had a lot of room to roam here in this spacious ballpark. Marco Estrada has retired 7 in a row. Pilar loves this spacious outfield and looks like a young colt out in the pasture.
August 25th, the first 20,000 fans will receive this Blue Jays replica batting helmet. Then watch your Blue Jays host the Philadelphia Phillies at 4:07 p.m. Eastern. For tickets, visit BlueJays.com. Buck, a quick update on Aaron Sanchez, who made his second rehab start with the Dunedin Blue Jays tonight. He pitched 3 2/3, 2 hits, 1 run, 3 strikeouts. Still working on his control. He walked 4 batters. He'll likely need another rehab outing before returning.
That's a fair ball just inside the bag at third, and Oscar's going to beat it out. That should be a base hit, and given the way we have seen the scoring here in Kansas City the last couple of days, I think that probably will be.
Yeah, they've got that consecutive errorless streak going defensively, and it will be a base hit. Escobar throws the ball over there. Can't pick by Duda. It looked like Teoscar was going to beat it anyway.
He busted it out of the box, and he gets another leadoff base hit. He had a leadoff double in the second. Richard Urania had a leadoff double in the third, and now they've got another leadoff man aboard here for Russell Martin. Ouch. Hit him back up on the shoulder as Russell was able to duck out of the way.
Second time this series that Russell has been hit by a pitch. That one just got away from Lopez.
Russell got hit by a pitch with the bases loaded in last night's game. This one's a little more painful as he didn't get an RBI this time. So the first 2 reach against Lopez here in the 4th.
Fastball up and in, and Russell does the right thing. You see how he turned his back to the pitcher, absorbed that with those big muscles of the back.
Kevin Pillar had an RBI single. His first at bat. Ripped it into center on the first pitch. Pillar is now 9 for 26 against the Royals this season. He's also driven in 7 runs. He's going to have another base hit. That's going to drop. Hernandez did a terrific job of getting a break, and there'll be no throw. Kevin Pillar 2 for 2. He's driven in both Blue Jay runs.
He drove in the final 2 runs in last night's game in the 8th inning. So the last 3 times that he has swung at a pitch, he has picked up 4 RBIs. Teoscar got a great break. We saw Urania get a good break at second base, but he was thrown out. But this one bounced a couple of times. No chance for Phillips to get him that time. Good job by Teoscar reading that ball off the bat of Kevin Pillar.
So Hernandez has scored on both of Pillar's base hits. Kevin has 46 ribbies now, and it's a 2-2 game. Russell Martin was hit by a pitch. He's now at second base. It's the 99th time in his career he's been hit by a pitch. Aledmus Diaz, nobody out. Oh, he was looking for that fastball and fouled it straight back. Base hit to left field. Martin is going to be stopped. Gordon's got that terrific arm, and Diaz has a base hit. The bases are loaded now. Still nobody out. Let's check in again with Jamie Campbell. Jamie, the Astros have lost 9 straight games at home, and it's a long losing streak. Doesn't happen very often. Were they to lose this game, it'd be their longest losing streak at home since 1966, when they were playing at the Astrodome. They're leading the West, as Jamie mentioned, down to a single game, and those red-hot Oakland A's are right on their heels.
Boy, you can't shut them down.
Oakland lost today in 12 innings. But that's going to be a tight race in the AL West. Luke Maile takes a first pitch strike. Inside, it's 1-1.
Boy, Blue Jays second time through the lineup now, getting a pretty good read on Jorge Lopez.
It's a high breaking ball. It's
No
a
outs,
strike.
no outs, bases loaded. You've got 1 run in already. Now you're playing for the big inning, and I mean big inning. This has got the makings of a 4 or 5 run inning for Toronto.
Outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes to the Blue Jays catcher Luke Maile. Jorge Lopez making his first start since October 2015. Ned Yost getting his first look at the right-hander. He was just acquired in a trade at the trade deadline from the Milwaukee Brewers. Maile strikes out on a breaking ball. That's the first strikeout for Lopez, and it's a very timely strikeout.
It's also the first out of the inning. A lot of breaking balls. The fastball was getting hit, so let's go to the breaking ball. That's the overhand curveball, and Luke's a little bit out in front on that one. They need one of those bases clearing doubles. We haven't had one of those in a while.
Richard Urena had a double his first time up. It was after the first pitch. He doubled down into the right field corner, but was stranded. Actually, when he was thrown out at the plate, a terrific throw from Brett Phillips, the center fielder, gunned him down at the plate.
They've moved that first baseman in Lucas Duda. They're going to go to the plate on any ground ball to the first baseman.
Cut on and missed. 0-2. Foul back to the screen. Popped up over near the seats. Escobar. He has room on the warning track. That's 2 outs. The Blue Jays as a team have struggled in these situations. Tied for 6th in the American League, batting with runners in scoring position.
Seems to come in bunches for the Blue Jays. They'll get hot for 3 or 4 days with runners in scoring position, and then they'll just dry up, and they can't come up with that clutch hit that you need.
Outside for ball 1 to Granderson. Curtis is 0 for 2, couple of flyouts. A run in. Blue Jays have tied it here in the 4th inning.
He's not going to swing at that little sinker down and away. He's waiting for something out over the plate now. 9 grand slams in his career. Something out over the plate that you can drive in multiple runs with.
There's a high fly ball to right. Bonifacio back at the track, at the wall. Get out of here, ball gone. Grand slam home run for Curtis Granderson. His 10th grand slam of his career, and the 6th the Blue Jays have hit this season. There's your big inning, pal.
There it is right there. The one hit that they were looking for to really bust this thing open, to have a big inning. It was set up for them. After the first 4 batters got on base, they were looking for one guy to cash them all in, and the Grandy man with the grand slam. 2-0, you're looking for a fastball out over the plate. And Lopez obliged by throwing it right down Broadway for Granderson. Watch this short swing. 10 grand slams now for Grandy.
For Granderson, that's his 11th career home run here at Kauffman Stadium. Of course, he began his career in this division, the AL Central, playing in Detroit. There's a curveball. Grichuk's behind 0-2. Six to 2, the Blue Jays lead it. The 6th grand slam of the season for the Blue Jays and the 10th of his career for Curtis Granderson. That's a game changer.
Spreading the wealth with the grand slams. Second one for Grandy. Josh Donaldson has one this year. Smoke, Solarte, and Travis.
Grichuk strikes out. That ends the inning, but it's a big inning for the Blue Jays. A 5-run 4th inning. They score 5 runs on 4 hits, capped off by Curtis Granderson's 11th home run of the season. It's a grand slam for Granderson.
Fourth inning, the Blue Jays made a roster move this afternoon, optioning left-hander Thomas Pannone to AAA Buffalo and recalling lefty reliever Tim Meza. Manager John Gibbons said Pannone will go to Buffalo and start ball games for the Bisons. He will he did come out of the pen during his time here with the Blue Jays. Now Gibbons expects to see Pannone in September when rosters expand, where he'll likely start a few ball games. An update now on Lourdes Gurriel Jr. He ran the bases for the first time today. Continued running progression for the 3rd straight day, but he is well ahead of schedule rehabbing that high ankle sprain.
Yeah, he looks pretty good now, and I saw him fielding ground balls, running the bases, and it's going to be a little bit quicker than expected. Don't be surprised by the dogs here at the stadium. It is Bark in the Park night in Kansas City, so the fans get to bring their dogs with them.
Any chance Gurriel goes on a rehab assignment maybe for a couple of days? I mean, he was swinging the bat so well, and I'd like to see him maybe get some at-bats in game situations before they bring him back.
I agree with that. There's another drive to left field, and this one is going to be into the bullpen. Perez's 2nd home run off of Estrada. A 2-run home run in the 1st, a solo shot here in the 4th to lead things off. Perez also has 2 home runs against Estrada in the postseason back in 2015. That's his 21st homer of the season.
It looks like he is sitting on the changeup and then reacting to the fastball. Uncle trying to go fastball in that time, and Sal was just a little bit too quick, too strong, gets it into the Blue Jays bullpen. Turns on that thing and hits it a long way.
Well, he's a big guy, and you're right. I think he was flat-footed. He was just looking for changeup and reacted to the fastball. Lucas Duda fouls it into the seats out of play. For Perez, 2 home runs tonight. It's the 5th time in his career he's had multi-home runs in a game. First time this season.
Yeah, they don't hit a lot of home runs. He is the team leader with 21.
Duda goes up and gets that high fastball, but hits a routine fly ball to center. 1 away.
The 2018 Honda CR-V, where style and versatility come together.
Now, we talk about barbecue here in Kansas City, but those are some big foot-long hot dogs on the grill. Don't take it personally, dog.
It is. Bring your dogs to the ballpark night.
Rosell Herrera. He's playing at second base tonight. He's a very versatile guy, and he's a switch hitter. So he gives you the option of playing him all over the field, plus the fact it doesn't make any difference who's pitching. Herrera has made 2 starts at second, 4 at third, 11 in center, and 20 in right.
Looks like he can run a little bit also. Late on that curveball. He played the outfield the first couple of games in this series, and today he's going to give Whit Merrifield a half a day off with his DHing tonight.
Boy, when you have that kind of versatility, especially in the game today, the way the rosters are constructed, everybody's carrying 12, 13 pitchers. You need the versatility. Herrera probably profiles more like a National League player. Somebody that can move around. One of those guys that will come off the bench and probably play 6 days a week, maybe not even starting all the time.
A lot more pinch hitting opportunities over in the National League also. So his versatility as a switch hitter would come into play.
Plus, he's got a little speed. Full count. You see Bonifacio, the right fielder, on deck. Blue Jays lead at 6-3. Estrada has given up just 2 hits. Unfortunately, both those hits are home runs to Sal Perez. He's accounted for all 3 runs against Marco.
And not afraid to throw that changeup 3-2 to a young hitter, and he's not used to it.
Popped up over near the Blue Jays dugout. Russell Martin will get over and make the catch right up against the railing, just beyond the dugout. 2 away.
That is, I'm looking at my scorecard. I've got 4 pop-ups, and it's just the 4th inning. Just pop-ups that don't even make it into the outfield.
Weak pop-ups, yep.
Yeah, and that's always a good sign when you see Marco Estrada on the mound.
First pitch strike to Bonifacio. Bonifacio had 17 home runs last season. It's the most home runs by a rookie for the Royals since Eric Hosmer hit 19 in 2011. This is going to be out of play. Blue Jays with 5 runs in the top half of this inning. They erased an early deficit. Estrada gave up a 2-run home run to Sal Perez in the first inning.
All right, that's how you get those pop-ups like that. 2 different ways. Change up where you got that hitter out in front like Bonifacio was right there, and you elevate the ball. Or you beat him with a fastball. You get one inside and he'll pop it up because he's a little bit late. So a little bit early, a little bit late.
Another fly ball into the outfield. Plenty of room for Hernandez. That'll end the inning, but the Royals chip away. Another home run by Sal Perez, a solo shot. 6-3. Blue Jays lead it. Now time for a Blue Jays Central Update. Here's Jamie Campbell with Joe Siddle from the Samsung Broadcast Studio. 5-run fourth inning have taken the lead here in Kansas City. Curtis Granderson with a grand slam home run. Beautiful sunset here. We had thunderstorms about 6:30. It looked like it was a washout, but then it blew away. Beautiful sunset, and everything is good here in Kansas City. 28 degrees at the start of play.
We also had it at 2:30. 3 o'clock, wasn't it? Something like that on the way here to the ballpark.
Oh,
today.
yeah.
I mean, that was a driving rainstorm we rolled through today.
They have had a very dry summer, so all of the locals are welcoming the rain. There's a high fly ball into right field. Bonifacio, the right fielder, calls for it. Smoke is retired, one away.
Take on any project with Home Hardware. Proud partner of the Toronto Blue Jays. Here's how.
Kansas City, Missouri, of course, a great history around this city. Out of the frontier was developed as they left the Missouri River and went west.
The City of Fountains, is that what it's called?
City of Fountains, for sure. Country Club Plaza, where the team hotel is one of the more spectacular places in the Midwest. Kind of a Spanish architecture influence with fountains all over the place. Oscar Hernandez is 2 for 2 with a couple of runs scored. He takes a breaking ball for strike 2. Teoscar doubled in the second, singled in the fourth. He scored both times. Both times he was driven in by Kevin Pillar.
They've gotten ahead of him both times also. Some work now starting to go on in the bullpen.
Bert Smith, who has been put down in that bullpen now, as Lopez took this spot in the rotation. There's a high fastball, another one of those pitches that doesn't have an impact.
And it was Teoscar Hernandez that got him back into the account his first time up. Remember, it was 0-2. They threw a couple of non-competitive high fastballs and got him back in the count. He ended up doubling to right field.
Strike 3 called right on the inside corner. Hernandez is called out on strikes. That's 3 strikeouts for Lopez, second out of the inning.
That double was a pitch away, then he got the infield hit, so they crossed him up and said, you know what, we got to go inside. We got to do something different here. So Lopez and Perez go inside with a backdoor breaking ball to freeze him up. Just the 3rd strikeout tonight for Jorge Lopez.
That slider's in there for a strike to Russell Martin. Russell was hit by a pitch his last time up. This is Russell's 1600th Major League game. What a terrific accomplishment. You play a tough position like catcher for the majority of your career, and to be able to put up the numbers Russell has across those 1600 games is very impressive.
Hey, you're going to get banged up playing catcher day in and day out like he does, but he comes to the ballpark every day ready to compete. There are his numbers over those 1,600 big league games. 751 RBIs for Russell. And a whole lot of attitude that he brought to this team a few years ago when he first came here, signed in 2015.
Yeah, and he certainly turned fortunes around here for the Blue Jays. Another walk for Russell Martin. He's on base twice again tonight.
Do you remember how many games you played?
Oh, not that many. The key to my long career was not playing very much.
Bench me or trade me?
Yeah, it was,
right?
I was an extra player most of my.
You played over 1,000 games.
I don't know if I did or not.
Yeah, you did.
I played over 1,000 games?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I think the most I ever played in a regular season was about 95 games here in '76. Kevin Pillar is off to a good start tonight. He's 2 for 2 with a couple of ribbies.
Your season high was 102.
102?
102 in 1984.
Really?
Hey,
No.
come on.
84 was a strike season.
No, it wasn't. 85 was for 3 days. 81 was.
81, yeah.
That was the big one.
84, that's right.
Yeah. I think that was your walk-off home run game, wasn't it, in 1984?
All the years run
time.
together.
I know. It wasn't like it was last week either.
2-0, 2 outs to Kevin Pillar. The Blue Jays have a 6-3 lead. There's a strike. Special treatment for that dog. Dogs always like to get their heads scratched, don't they? Breaking ball pulled foul by Kevin. He got a fistful of bees on that one. That was hit off at the end of the bat. 2-2 now.
Last 3 times he has swung the bat, he's driven in runs for the Blue Jays. He's looking pretty comfortable again. Lopez has tried a couple of fastballs up, and he's been all over it.
Wow. Protecting the plate with 2 strikes. That ball ran way inside off the plate.
Yeah, you guess ball away, and he crosses you up and throws it in like that, and you've already started your swing. So he keeps the at-bat alive by fouling that thing off.
Another 2-2 pitch to Pillar. Now that's a full count. So with 2 outs, Russell Martin, the runner at first, will be moving on the pitch. Aledmus Diaz has singled already tonight. If Pillar can reach, Diaz will have a chance. And there goes Martin. Pillar checks his swing, takes ball 4. So Lopez with back-to-back 2-out walks, and here comes the Royals manager, Ned Yost, out of the first base dugout. So there's the call to the bullpen. Bert Smith has been warming up down in the right field bullpen, so Jorge Lopez will be out of this game. He goes 4 2/3, charged with 6 runs on 8 hits, gives up the grand slam to Curtis Granderson. Bert Smith will take over.
Let's take a look at Curtis Granderson's StatCast. StatCast AI is powered by AWS, 373 feet. That's the good part. The best part was it was a grand slam.
Granderson's 10th career grand slam, and it busted the game wide open, part of a 5-run fourth inning. Bert Smith is in here. Ledmus Diaz takes his strike. Smith is 28 years old. He was drafted by the Padres in 2011 in the 14th round. He has bounced around. He was traded to Kansas City from the Mets last December. He has played in the big leagues with San Diego and Kansas City, but this is his first big league time since 2013 when he was with the Padres. Breaking ball right out in front of home. Perez takes his time. Diaz is up. And the Blue Jays leave a couple of base runners on. We'll go to the bottom of the fifth. The Jays have a 6-3 lead here in Kansas City.
Blue Jays app. Customize your experience to catch every moment this season. Get Blue Jays home screen icons and features such as the MLB TV Game of the Day, pitch tracking, in-game highlights, live radio broadcasts, stats, news, and more. Download MLB At Bat today.
Thank you very much, Hazel. As that youngster, he's digging into his dessert, and he's having a good time here at the ballpark. Now that's what a baseball game's all about. A helmet full of ice cream. Brett Phillips will lead things off for the Royals. It'll be 7, 8, and 9 here in the bottom of the fifth. Phillips is the center fielder. Popped up left field. Hernandez over into the corners there, makes the catch. One away, another fly ball out for Estrada.
An easy fly ball. He has really got the Kansas City Royal batters talking to themselves right now. A lot of soft contact. The only one who's figured him out is Sal Perez.
Sal Perez has a couple of home runs. He's responsible for the 2 hits and the 3 runs that Estrada has surrendered. Alcides Escobar takes a first pitch strike. Escobar lined out to the right field of his first time up. Marco Estrada's in his 11th season. He was drafted and got to the big leagues with the Washington Nationals, got into 15 games in 2008 and 2009. Then he went to the Milwaukee Brewers, spent 5 seasons with the Brewers before coming here to Toronto. This is his 4th year with the Blue Jays.
And remember when he first came to Toronto, they had him out in the bullpen. They weren't really sure what role he was going to play for the Blue Jays. But he got that opportunity to start, and he's turned into a darn good starter for him.
You know what? They also had Jay Happ in the bullpen when he first came. And Pete Walker was always a proponent of putting both Estrada and Happ into the rotation. Eventually they both made their way in there, and that's where they've had their most success. Change up, a little pop up. Urania, the second baseman, makes the catch. 2 quick outs here. That's 5 in a row after the home run to Perez.
You don't get a lot of balls on the ground ball outs when Marco Estrada is on, and tonight you're seeing a lot of lazy pop-ups and some weak fly balls to the outfield. There was that one ground ball to Justin Smoke that ended the first inning. That's been it on the ground.
Yeah, and this is a beautiful ballpark for him to pitch in. Obviously, it is a big ballpark, and those fly balls die in the outfielder's gloves. Mondesi goes after the first pitch. Adalberto Mondesi popped out to the shortstop, his only at bat. The Royals have only had 3 base runners. Whit Merrifield, the leadoff man in the first, walked. Then Perez has homered twice.
When he's in this nice little groove like this, you don't see anything bothering him. Remember his last start when he was out on the mound? That was against Tampa Bay. It looked like he couldn't get loose. There's a ground ball.
Second ground ball out of the ball game. That's how the bottom of the 5th ends. We'll go to the 6th. Marco Estrada and the Blue Jays have a 6-3 lead against the Royals.
Sunday, Kevin Pillar and the Blue Jays wrap up a 3-game series in the Bronx. It's the Blue Jays and the New York Yankees, the Omni version at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific time on Omni.
Thank you very much. Sunday at Yankee Stadium. That should be another great series against New York. The Yankees in the top of the 8th are trailing Tampa Bay 6-1. And the Yankees, they've had a little bit of a rough stretch of late. But the Blue Jays will see them on Friday night.
CC Sabathia is on the disabled list. They brought up another young kid today, and he didn't fare too well.
Luis Sessa was the starter for New York in Sabathia's spot. He gives up 5 earned runs on 7 hits, lasted just 3 1/3. Sonny Gray pitching out of the bullpen. He went 3 1/3. He gave up a run on 4 hits, but walked 3 more. He has not pitched well since going to New York. Luke Maile, the catcher, hits one into center, and here comes Phillips. Boy, he looks like a good-looking player. He's made a couple of good plays in this series. You remember, he made a running catch off the bat of Devin Travis in last night's game in the 4th inning, and tonight he made a terrific throw to the plate to gun down Richard Urania trying to score on a single.
Just looks like a baseball player. Put him anywhere and he's going to give you a great effort. Got a good break on that one and took away a hit from Luke with a dive. Wears the glasses when he hits but doesn't wear them when he's in the field.
Phillips is just 24 years old. He played in all three outfield positions with Milwaukee in 2017. He came here in that Moustakas deal. That's how they picked up the catcher or the starter tonight, Jorge Lopez. Richard Urena 1 for 2 with a double. He is the runner that was thrown out by Phillips at home plate back in the third.
Bert Smith has a pretty decent fastball. His out pitch, though, is a hard breaking ball. A little knuckle curve that he will use in a lot of his strikeouts. The problem he has had in his career, he's had some injuries where he missed all of 15 and most of 2016. It's just been fastball command. Been walking too many players.
And he walks another here. Urena takes a 1-out walk. That'll turn the lineup over and bring Curtis Granderson to the plate. Granderson hit the grand slam in the 4th inning. His 10th career grand slam, his 11th home run of the season. That was part of a big 5-run 4th inning for the Jays.
Curtis has that very good on-base percentage, and he'll see a lot of pitches. But you know what else he's been able to do this year? Extra base hits. Got 66 hits this year. What's he up to now? 30? Almost half of them have been extra base hits.
18 doubles, a triple, and 11 home runs. The Blue Jays know that Urena is not much of a base stealing threat, but Bert Smith is not so sure.
Yeah. Not a real big lead over there at first base, and you've got one of the best, if not the best, throwing catchers. And you see him shrug his shoulders, say, I don't know if he'll go or not. I think just on reputation alone, you shouldn't go on Perez unless you've got world-class speed.
Foul ball. Blue Jays trying to make it 2 in a row here in Kansas City. They won 6-5 in the game last night. Jake Petrichka picked up the win. Blaine Boyer took the loss last night, and he took a bigger loss today. He was cut loose by the Kansas City Royals as they replaced him with Jorge Lopez, the starter for tonight's game. There's a base hit for Granderson into center field. Urena had to make sure it was down safely before he takes off. He stops at second. 2 hits for Granderson.
6th inning, and Grandy just had his 4th at bat. They have been turning the lineup over with regularity tonight. That is their 9th hit to go along with 3 walks.
They won the game last night 6-5, but only had 6 hits in the game. Different story tonight. Randall Grichuk's got a hit in 3 at bats. Well, he just barely got away out of that breaking ball.
Smith was supposed to start tonight's game. That's the name that we were handed when we started this 4-game series, that Bert Smith would pitch the 3rd game, but he has been moved to the bullpen. I think he looks more like a reliever. He's got a pretty good fastball and a decent curveball.
That's lifted into center field. It's deep. Urena's going back to tag at second, and the throw will go into second. Urena moves over to third on the deep fly ball out. 2 away. So Justin Smoke now will have a chance to add to the Blue Jays lead. Smoke has flied out 3 times so far tonight. Smoke has walked 3 times in this series as they have pitched him very cautiously.
They have kept the ball away from him. Up and away, or away. Hardly anything in. If they throw one in, he's going to smoke the ball to right field.
Good grab by Perez. It's 2 balls and no strikes to Smoke. Urania at third, Granderson at first. Curtis with his second hit of the night. Three and 0.
Another 3-0 count. He has had a lot of them. To his credit, he has laid off those borderline pitches. And
Hernandez is on deck.
I just
Excuse me, Pat.
get the sense that they just don't want to pitch to him. That they want to take their chances with Hernandez and take the bat right out of Justin Smoke's hand.
So 4th walk Smoke has been issued in this series. And that will once again load the bases. Blue Jays have had a lot of base runners. They had 7 walks in the game last night. They have 4 already tonight. Getting those extra opportunities with base runners on.
They came up with the one big hit they needed back in the 4th inning, the Granderson grand slam. Now he got a chance for another big hit. I'd be ready on that first pitch if I'm Teoscar.
First pitch fastball, tough pitch to run on the outside corner. Oh, and 2. Upstairs. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The bases loaded. Blue Jays trying to add to their lead here in the 6th.
He loves what he sees from Royal pitching so far this year.
He swings and misses and strikes out. That will end the inning. The Blue Jays will strand 2 more. They get a couple of walks but can't take advantage. Smith retires the Blue Jays in the 6th.
Out of reach, but he still wants this team to have a goal. Hale said we came into the season with realistic expectations, at least in my mind, that this team was a 500 team or better. Quote, I think for us, I would like us to strive for that goal before we end the season. Hale would like to see the Jays make up 8, 9, 10 games. What does that do for them? Well, he explained it shows that they've competed throughout the entire season. 500 is a mark in the majors you use to measure where you're at, average to above average in terms of record. He says that's what I'd like us to strive for. We may not play in October, Buck, he says, but we're going to keep fighting till the very end.
It's all you can do. You're a professional athlete. You come out here and you have to represent yourself, your team, and your organization, and you've got to give it everything you have. Nobody's going to feel sorry for you. Blue Jays were in the postseason, back-to-back seasons, and yeah, they're going through a tough stretch right now, but you got to represent yourself and come out and approach it as a professional every single day. Top of the order for the Royals with Merrifield, the leadoff man. Merrifield is the DH tonight.
Very impressed with Marco's command so far tonight. He hasn't made too many mistakes.
There's a beautiful bunt. That's going to be a base hit. A perfect bunt by Whit Merrifield. You know, the Kansas City Royals do a lot of things that they have done throughout their franchise history. They run the bases well, they play good defense, they drop down bunts, and that's the way you have to play in this ballpark, because home runs will not be a consistent part of your offense.
Russell backed up, anticipating Whit Merrifield swinging away, and he's upset that he backed up, and you can see his reaction. He's not happy with himself. Merrifield caught that Russell was moving back on the pitch, took advantage of it for an infield hit. And I agree with you. They've got 100 home runs coming into the game.
And Gordon
today
tries the same thing.
They now have 102 with Perez's 2 home runs. So you got to get some base runners on. If I'm Russell, I'm playing right there, right where he's standing now. The cut of the grass. And just take that bunt away from him. Make him swing and hit the ball into the shift.
Alex Gordon, the left fielder, is 0 for 2 with a strikeout. Off the end of the bat, lazy fly ball into center. Pilar waits on it. Gordon's retired. He's 0 for 3. So here is Sal Perez. He's been the offense for the Royals tonight. He has 2 of the 3 Royals hits. He's homered twice, and you see what he has done against Estrada. This includes the postseason. We mentioned 2 home runs in the postseason back in 2015 off of Marco Estrada. A couple of home runs tonight.
Again, it looked like he's been sitting on the changeup and reacting to the fastball. See if Marco tries something different. Yeah, curveball. You figure curveball or cutter early in the count here against Perez.
Fouls that one back in our direction, just over our head. The upper net. Ball and a strike is Estrada to Perez. 1 out, runner at first is Merrifield. There's a fastball. It tied him up a bit.
He reacted to it, but he reacted to it just a little bit late.
Little looper, and that's going to drop in front of Kevin Pilar. Perez is 3 for 3 tonight.
Pretty good pitch right there from Estrada on the changeup down and away. We're making our way the 3rd time through the lineup. And this is the opponent's on base plus their slugging percentage 3rd time through the lineup. And Marco just under Jake Odorizzi of the Minnesota Twins.
Yeah, and it's obvious that the 3rd time they get an idea about the timing of that changeup, about how you have to stay back and not be so aggressive against him. So it's been a challenge for him 3rd time through the order.
It shouldn't be a problem for him because he can then go to other pitches. Maybe use his curveball a little bit more. Maybe use that cutter just a little bit more.
This is popped up. Martin's got a shot over into foul ground. He can't make the play. He ran out of room. He got to the railing of those seats down below ground level and just kind of leaned over, but couldn't make the catch.
That would have been a heck of a play for Russell Martin. I love the determination getting over there and just trying all out to make that catch for his pitcher. Remember where he started from with the left-handed hitter Uptuta. Pulled over.
0-1 to Duda. That'll dribble her up the middle, and that's a nice play by Diaz. He had to focus on the baseball as it bounced right over the bag at second. He stepped on second, through to first to complete the double play. Takes a lot of concentration. You just don't know if this ball is going to hit the base or where it's going to go. But Diaz stays with it. It's got a lot of spin off the end of the bat, but he stays with it, steps on second, and completes the double play.
Changer. Get ready for a refined travel experience. Visit 787.westjet.com to see the whole story. And J-Shop is Canada's largest and only official team shop for your Toronto Blue Jays. Come visit us at the Toronto Eaton Centre, Rogers Centre Gates 1 and 5, and every in-stadium kiosk. For more information, visit jshop.ca or call 1-877-JSHOP.
Thank you very much, Hazel. As you can see, a lot of the Blue Jay fans have their Blue Jays gear on here in Kansas City. Russ Martin will lead things off for the Blue Jays. Birch Smith came into the ball game and got the final out of the 5th inning. He gave up 2 walks and a single in the 6th, but the Blue Jays could not cross the plate. This has got a chance to get down, and it will in front of the center fielder. So Russell Martin has his first hit of the night. That's 10 hits for the Jays now.
He keeps that on-base streak going too. I mean, he's got a very high on-base percentage. Hit by a pitch, walk, and now a single. He's been on base 3 times tonight. They have had 1, 2, 3 inning. That was in the 1st inning. But the Royals pitchers, the rest of the night, they have given up base runners in every inning now to the Blue Jays.
Kevin Pillar's been on base 3 times, a couple of RBI singles and a walk. Takes a pitch upstairs for ball 1. We're in the 7th inning. Blue Jays trying to make it 2 in a row here in Kansas City. Pillar got the big hit in the game last night. A 2-run home run in the 8th inning. His first home run on the road this season.
And it was a game winner. Also his first game-winning RBI of the season. He has followed that up with a nice game tonight. A couple of RBI singles. Stay aggressive.
You know, we heard Hazel May talk about DeMarlo Hale and his desire as a coach to see the team really finish up on a positive note. And, you know, everybody's got a lot of pride on this team. And sometimes you just have to forget about your record and just focus on the game you're playing on a particular night. And you know what? A lot of people on this team, the Blue Jays, they're auditioning for next year as well. And everybody's looking at how they're finishing. And yeah, it's tough to play when you're not winning a lot of games, but that's when you find out exactly who you have on your team, who's in that clubhouse.
Compete. I mean, you're professionals. you come every day and you figure out ways to motivate yourself to get up for a game. These are called the dog days of August for a reason. Blue Jays don't look like they're going to make it into the playoffs, but you come and you try and do something to help. Look at Curtis Granderson. He's always coming to the ballpark trying to help his team and help his teammates.
It was interesting. He was explaining the flight of that ball and how he got the barrel out. It is Bark in the Park night here at Kauffman Stadium, and a lot of the fans have brought their favorite pooches in. Of course, it is the dog days, so you might as well cooperate.
That's why I said it. That's why I said it's the dog days of August, and we're seeing that firsthand here in Kansas City tonight.
Pilar is called out on strikes. He was quite surprised that was called strike 3. So he's retired for the first time tonight. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Boston won the game last night 2-1. Rick Porcello picked up his 15th win, and for the Phillies, they have fortified their team. That's a fair ball. Escobar goes to second, and that's all they'll get. That force out at second. Martin is retired. 2 away.
The 2018 Civic Type R, like no Honda you've ever seen.
Kansas City, Missouri, home of the Kansas City Royals here at Kauffman Stadium. This is the 46th season of Kauffman Stadium. It opened up as Royal Stadium and became Kauffman Stadium in honor of the late owner, Ewing Kauffman.
Still as beautiful as ever, isn't it?
I think they've made it even nicer with the addition of the seats in the outfield, and they have not taken a thing away from the fountains in the outfield. There's a statue of Ewing and Muriel Kauffman out in the outfield. They were the owners of this team. Muriel was from Toronto. She was from Toronto. Had a beautiful house in Kansas, not far from the hotel, and they displayed both the U.S. flag and the Canadian flag on their front lawn.
How awesome is that? Yeah, they were really good to this city, to this ball club, the ownership. Spent a lot of his own money to keep some of the star players here and have those great runs like they did in the 70s and the 80s.
And Kauffman was a local guy that wanted baseball back in Kansas City after Charlie Finley had taken the A's from Kansas City out to Oakland. And he bought the franchise. The expansion fee, I believe, was about $7 million. And they had an inaugural season in 1969. This is the 50th season for the Royals. Mainly hits a fly ball to right field. Bonifacio backing up. That will end the inning. Blue Jays get a single. They strand a base runner. We'll go to the bottom of the 7th. The Jays still have a 6-3 lead. by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. Indeed, as my partner Pat Tabler said, the dog days of August are here in Kansas City.
What a popular event this has become. Everybody bringing the dogs out, enjoying it. We got a treat down on the field to watch some of the dogs do some tricks beforehand tonight.
Yeah, they were chasing the Frisbees out in the outfield. A couple of very acrobatic dogs. Marcus Estrada's done a nice job tonight. The only blemish on his record is Sal Perez. Perez has 3 of the 4 Royals hits. 2 of those are home runs.
Hasn't had a whole lot of pitches that have been, pressure packed type of pitches. So I think he can go for as long as he wants to tonight. He has been pounding that strike zone, and he's really had the Kansas City Royal batters off balance all night.
He's had a lot of weak fly balls and pop-ups hit. There have only been 4 outs recorded on the ground. A couple of ground balls to the first baseman, Smoke, and then that double play that ended the bottom of the 6th inning. Ryan Tepera is loosening up behind Estrada. Fly ball to center off the bat of Herrera. Another fly ball out for Estrada.
Easy fly balls too, so they're not squaring it up and they're not driving the ball into the gaps. The outfielders have plenty of time to get over there and camp underneath it, and that's good news. What's not good news is him doing that right there. We saw that in his last start before he was warming up before the game, stretching out that back.
It is a muggy night here in Kansas City. It was 28 degrees at the start of this ball game, and it's cooled off some, but you can see the perspiration-soaked jersey of Estrada. It's a different color than his pants.
Tell you, he looks free and easy. He doesn't look like he has any problems with any physical problems.
That's fastball. Smoke giving chase down the right side, but he will see it bounce on the warning track. Yeah, I think that's a real good scouting report on Estrada because he has been basically effortless. It's been a nice, easy outing for him, despite the fact he's given up 3 hits to Perez, 2 home runs.
He's been in the strike zone. In that last start, he had a couple of walks. There's a good pitch. At 5 hits and 5 earned runs in 5 and a third inning. Tonight, effortless. Whenever he follows through, he comes down the mound. It's pretty violent coming down the mound, but tonight, no problem.
Fly ball deep to center field. Pilar ranging back. He's got room on the warning track and hauls it in. Kevin Pilar has had a couple of running catches, but nothing really up against the fence. He's got a lot of room there in the outfield. Bonifacio's 0 for 3. 2 outs here in the 7th.
Pitch count still in good shape for Marco. If you're going to give up fly balls, that's where you want to give them, in this ballpark.
Brett Phillips, the center fielder, has popped up twice, once to the second baseman and once to the center fielder, and he's in the hole. 0-2, couple of good fastballs from Estrada. Just missed with that heater.
Well, he's got Brett Phillips saying, I don't know what to look for now. He's thrown him 3 very good fastballs.
That's lined in the gap in right center and going to get down. It's going to roll all the way to the warning track. Phillips can run. He's around second, headed for third, and he will get there with a stand-up triple. His 3rd triple. of this season.
This ballpark has always been good for a lot of triples because there's a lot of room down the lines and into the gaps, and if you can get it by the outfielders and up against the wall in right center field or left center field, and you can run a little bit, you're going to have a lot of triples. That's a stand-up triple for Phillips.
Yeah, he started to cramp up as he was getting near third base. It's a hot, muggy night. He's been doing a lot of running in center field, and you can see him break it down a little bit before he got to third, and then he tried to stretch out that hamstring. Runner at third, 2 outs for the third baseman, Alcides Escobar. Good call by Maley. Looked like Escobar was sitting on an off-speed pitch. Escobar came in this game batting .203. He's lost a point on his batting average. He has success against Marco in the past. He's 5 for 12. Fly ball into the alley. That's going to drop for a base hit. Phillips is in to score. Escobar has a 2-out single. And it's a 2-run game.
2 quick outs on fly balls here in the 7th, and triple single. And that's going to bring John Gibbons to the mound, and he's already made his decision.
He made the call. I'm sure Marco would have loved to walk off the field with 7 innings under his belt, but he gets 6 2/3. So far, he has given up 6 hits, 4 runs, a runner on base. Escobar is his responsibility, but he leaves with a chance to win as the Blue Jays have a 6-4 lead. Ryan Tepera to come on to face the number 9 hitter, Mondesi.
Game winner Blake Snell gets the start for the Rays as they challenge Masahiro Tanaka and the Yankees. It's matinee baseball from Yankee Stadium for you tomorrow on Sportsnet at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific time. Buck.
Thank you very much. Blake Snell, we saw him last time on. He was terrific against the Blue Jays. Ryan Tepera takes over. This will be his 52nd appearance of the season. 2 outs, a man at first.
Ryan has pitched in a couple different roles for the Blue Jays this year.
Mondesi goes after the first pitch. Urania flips it with his glove just in time to get the speedy shortstop. Tepera needs just 1 pitch to close out the Royals in the bottom of the 7th. 7 in the books in Kansas City. The Blue Jays have a 6-4 lead.
Baseball is acting as a tool to inspire change all across Canada. And all season long, we celebrate unstoppable kids in Jays Care programs. Visit jayscare.com/unstoppablekids to support and learn more.
Great opportunity to help out some wonderful kids as the Blue Jays Care Foundation takes care of so many kids across Canada. Tim Hill, we saw him last night, and he's kind of funky.
A lefty with sidearm stuff, and he gets a lot of ground ball outs. He had 3 weak ground ball outs in the 9th inning in last night's ball game. That's why I'm surprised that earned run average is up over 5 for the young left-hander. He comes right after you with a good sinking fastball. And when you see his delivery, you'll see why he gets so many ground ball outs. It's almost sidearm underhand with a lot of great movement.
Richard Urania, the second baseman, will turn around and bat right-handed. He takes the first pitch just down the stairs for ball 1. Urania is 1 for 2 with a walk. And opposite field double in the 3rd. He was thrown out at home plate trying to score on Randall Grichuk's little flare to center field. Oh, 1-1 now.
I think Tim Hill's got the ability to close games eventually with this kind of stuff.
Little chopper. Hill bare hands, fires to first. That's a nice play. Drive of the game brought to you by the 2018 Honda Odyssey with available Honda Vac and always bats cleanup.
Well, there's only one drive that we need to talk about tonight, and it's the grand slam by Granderson. Curtis Granderson unleashes this 2-0 pitch into the bullpen for 4 runs. That is tonight's drive of the game, and it blew this game open and gave the Blue Jays a 5-run 4th inning.
Curtis Granderson finishes up the night 2 for 4. He's on the bench because he has been lifted in favor of the pinch hitter, Kendrys Morales. Morales, a switch hitter, batting right-handed against Hill. Goes after the first pitch, hits it on the ground. Mondesi has time and throws to first. 2 away.
You know, they had a great closer here for years and years, and one of my teammates, Dan Quisenberry, who threw like this, like Tim Hill. He was right-handed, all-star, World Series champion. You know, had some great years. He's in the Hall of Fame. Tim Hill's the same type of guy. Throws from down under with a lot of movement, keeps the ball down. That's why I say he might have a chance at someday being a closer.
That's an interesting comparison for sure. Quisenberry unfortunately passed away much too early, but he was a big part of this organization. One of the numbers that they've retired here. He's in the Royals Hall of Fame, and Quiz, a terrific closer. Homegrown talent, guy that never really expected that he was going to turn into that type of an impact player. He's kind of a journeyman minor leaguer throughout his career.
Then he started throwing from down under, if you will, sidearm like this, and the rest is history.
Grichuk hits it high in the air to right. Quick inning for Tim Hill. Retires the side in order on just 7 pitches. Now time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell with Joe Siddle from the Samsung Broadcast Studio.
End of the summer is almost here. Don't miss SummerSlam on Sunday, August 19th at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific time on the WWE Network. Now back up to the booth as we rejoin a couple of former Royals, Buck Martinez and Pat Tabler. Gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Hazel May. Indeed, we both had a chance to play in Kansas City, but it's always been a great baseball community, and they have that great rivalry with the St. Louis Cardinals across the state, not 250 miles apart.
They were an expansion team in 1969, and they were really good by the mid-70s.
Yeah.
I mean, really good. If not for those great Yankee teams of the mid-70s and late 70s, the Royals would have a few other championships.
You know what, too? We had to play the Oakland A's in the early 70s, and the Oakland won 3 World Series. And it wasn't until 76 that we finally beat Oakland. And, of course, at that time, Kansas City, Oakland, the same division, American League West. So it was a real challenge. We were knocking our heads against the Oakland A's for years.
10 years later, it was the same thing between these two organizations, Kansas City and Oakland. When I played here, there were some really good teams here in Kansas City. We had some talented players, but we couldn't beat the Oakland A's. They had the Bash brothers.
This is the leadoff man with Merrifield. He's walked, struck out, and had a bunt base hit. That bunt base hit came back in the 6th.
Russell's playing deep again at third base. It was Merrifield who dropped the bunt in front of Russell. 2 outs now, so he can move back. 2 strikes, excuse me. 2 strikes. It's the leadoff batter. But he was playing back this whole at bat against Merrifield, which surprised me.
Merrifield's had a good series. He's 5 for 10 in this series so far. This is game 3 of this 4-game set. Just off the plate outside. Tepera got Mondesi on 1 pitch to end the bottom of the 7th. Merrifield hits it right to Diaz. Diaz, the shortstop, has done a very good job this season, and he has been much better than advertised. And right then, looked like he moved a little bit to his right. You see that ball was knuckling to him, but he was able to make a catch. Watch the shortstop. Moves to his right. Perfect positioning.
You know, I asked him about that, and he said, you know, Davey Concepcion, you know, had an article that he was reading when he was younger about shortstops anticipating where the ball is. He says you can look right in there, you can see the sign. And Concepcion said you got to be able to move while the pitch was on its way. He said if you don't, because the guys hit the ball so hard up here, it's going to go out into the outfield. So he learned something when he was a younger player from a pretty good player who should be in the Hall of Fame in my mind.
Davey Concepcion, the great shortstop for that Big Red Machine, and he had quite a run. You know, I spoke to Ledmus Diaz about the fundamentals of baseball they teach in Cuba. He said, fundamentally, when you're a young kid in your preteen years, they pound the fundamentals into you, and we threw every single day. So that explains his strong arm. And it's just a matter of the fundamentals are preached to the youngsters in Cuba. Of course, we know all about Yasiel Puig and his great arm, and Cespedes has a strong arm, and Morales has a strong arm. Gurriel as well, but the fundamentals are really encouraged in Cuba, and they're demanded.
He's a better shortstop than I thought. Having a chance to watch him day in and day out, just all the little things that he does to help himself and help the players around him. He's always communicating with his second baseman. Like right now, he's talking to Urania about where to play now with two strikes on the batter. You know, always constantly communicating with everybody around him. I asked him about, you know, do you give signs to the third baseman on breaking balls? He says absolutely. You know, if they want to know what's coming, I'll give them the signs so they can anticipate the ball being hit to them. And he was still fuming about that call the other night on the 3-0 pitch.
3-0 pitch was a terrible pitch, and it ended up costing him an at-bat. It was a chance for Blue Jays to get something going late. Should have been ball 4 to start the inning.
Yeah, he knew it. I think everybody knew it. He's got to be able to file that one away and forget about it.
Tepera walks Gordon. A 1-out walk.
Beauty Tone is the official paint of the Toronto Blue Jays, only available at Home Hardware. Here's how.
That is the Country Club Plaza, not far from the ballpark, down toward the center of town. That's Martin in on the meeting between the catcher Melee and Tepera. Of course, the walk with 1 out here in the 8th brings the tying run to the plate, and it's none other than Sal Perez.
Yeah, Russell will go in there, not being the third baseman, but just lending some of his expertise about how to pitch to Sal Perez, what they're going to do. He's asking right now, should I get on the line and cover anything down the line? That's a smart move. You got a veteran like that with his mind. Take advantage of it.
Tepera misses with the first pitch to Perez. Perez is 3 for 3 with a pair of home runs. And a 2-run homer in the first inning, a solo shot leading off the 4th, and had a single in the 6th. Inside. If you're wondering about Perez and how he fares against Tepera, he's 3 for 3 with a home run against Rock.
Looking pretty comfortable in this series also. Got 5 hits, a couple of home runs. He's been robbed a couple of times by the Blue Jays defense in this series already.
He got jammed and pops it up. Melee's got room right over by the Blue Jays dugout. That's a big out, getting Perez out for the first time.
You know, Ryan Tepera's got a good fastball. He can cut it, but he can also sink it. And that 2-seam sinker, that's the time to do it. 2-0. Watch that thing right in on the hands of a very dangerous hitter in Sal Perez, and ties him up and gets a big out. You can see he's having some trouble, it looks like, keeping his hands dry, Tepera.
Jason Hamo is loosening up in the Royals bullpen. Yeah, it's a hot, muggy night, and the perspiration runs down the pitcher's hand right on the baseball. Duda is 0 for 3.
And also, you got to find a dry spot on your uniform to wipe your hands off. There is none. So he can try and get it in his glove. You can see him keeps wiping. Been all over that rosin bag behind him also to try and dry off that perspiration on his fingers.
Gordon's at first base, but obviously the Royals are down by 2. With 2 outs, you don't expect them to run. Pulled into the Royals dugout. Santos is throwing for the Blue Jays. Gonzalez closed out the game last night and threw the ball very well. Gonzalez had a couple of strikeouts in a 1-2-3 9th inning to pick up his 14th save of the season. That's over the Blue Jays dugout.
The Royals don't have a lot of power, but we're going to see their 2 power hitters this inning. This is one of them right here, Duda. Perez was the other one, so you got to really concentrate now. He represents the tying run in the 8th inning. You got to really make a pitch to get him out. He's got 10 home runs. He and Perez, the only players double figures in home runs.
Tepera trying to close out the Royals in the bottom of the 8th inning. And he'll do it. He strikes out Duda. The Royals leave a base runner at first base. We'll go to the 9th. The Blue Jays have a 2-run lead. Smoke, Hernandez, and Martin will bat for the Jays. Jason Hamill coming out of the bullpen.
Is on Sportsnet. Presented by Honda at the Model Clearout event. The real victory lap is the drive home.
Nothing like a fresh bag of popcorn at the old ballpark as we have made our way to the 9th inning. The Blue Jays had a big 5-run 4th inning, busted wide open. They have a 6-4 lead. The pitcher for Kansas City will be the right-hander Jason Hamill.
Veteran, has been around a long time. He first showed up in the big leagues in 2006 with the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. He's been in 27 games this season, including 18 starts, but he's been moved to the bullpen. 2-12 record, ERA up over 6. Out into the bullpen for the first time since 2014, when he made a relief appearance when he was with the Oakland Athletics.
Destin Smoke. First batter takes a breaking ball from Hamill for a strike. Smoke is 0 for 3 with a walk. He's hit 3 fly balls tonight. Pops this one up over near the Blue Jays dugout. Perez, a long run. The catcher gets there to get the catch. 1 out.
Boy, he had a long way to go to get that one, and he was the only guy who was going to catch it in that shift. Somebody's giving it to him on the bench.
Ken Johns listening up for the Blue Jays. It is a save situation as we speak. Morales, of course, teammates with Perez while they were here in Kansas City, so he was giving it to him.
I'm sure it was him. Say, hey, you run around pretty good for an old guy.
Teoscar Hernandez is 2 for 4. He has doubled, singled, scored twice, and struck out twice. We keep an eye on Boston and Philadelphia. The Phillies beat the Red Sox tonight 7-4, but the big news in that game, Wilson Ramos, the catcher, was activated and had a big night. 2 doubles and a triple. It's the first Phillies catcher since Mike Lieber thought they have 2 doubles and a triple in the same game. That was way back in '98.
3 extra base hits right out the chute
Yeah.
for Wilson Ramos.
You know, they made some good moves. Justin Boer is another guy they picked up, a power-hitting first baseman, left-handed bat.
Asdrubal Cabrera picked him up from the Mets. They start play tonight, 2 games behind the Braves.
The Braves won, and they had a scare with Ronald Acuna Jr. taking a pitch off the elbow. We have not heard whether or not it was X-rayed. I'm sure it has been, but you see the standings in the NL East. Washington's starting to play better baseball, but they may have dug themselves too deep a hole early in the season. 8.5 games back. I think Atlanta's still in the market to add to their ball club. I think they still have some concerns about their rotation, but they've got a pretty good situation with the younger players and the veteran players. Freeman and Markakis, a couple of veterans. The 2 catchers are doing a great job. Suzuki and Flowers.
One more arm. One of the pickups as Hernandez goes down, that's under the radar pitch tonight for the Atlanta Braves. Kevin Gausman's been a different pitcher since he's gone over to Atlanta. He won again tonight.
They have Gausman, they have O'Day, and they have Brad Brock, all Orioles that have been picked up. And when you do that, of course, you get some players with pedigree. They've been to the postseason. Brad Brock and O'Day working out of the bullpen. Russell Martin, he is 1 for 2 officially. He was hit by a pitch and scored in the 4th. He walked in the 5th, singled in the 7th. Home plate umpire Chris Siegel and Sal Perez talking about that last pitch. Inside. 3-0 to Martin.
He's got him right where he wants him, doesn't he?
Yeah. He'll be swinging. He'll get something good to hit as you see Pilar on deck.
Russell had one the other day, a 3-0 count, and just missed it, popped it up.
He had the green light and got ahead of it, pulled it foul.
Got to tell yourself, hey, don't get too long 3-0. Don't try and hit the ball too far. Just try and hit the ball hard. Put a good swing on it. And Russell's done a great job this year hitting 3-0.
Russell has 4 career home runs on the 3-0 count. It reflects his experience. As we mentioned earlier, this is his 1600th major league game. It'll be a full countdown. Russell asks for time. The leader among active players in games played. Who do you think that would be?
Russell Martin?
No. Adrian Beltre.
Of course. He's
Adrian
been in big
Beltre.
leagues 20 years.
2,900 games.
Wow.
Right on the nose.
Wow.
3-2 pitch to Martin. Hit high in the air down the left side. Gordon over, and it's going to be up into the seats, out of play.
Yeah, how can I forget about Adrian Beltre?
21 seasons, 2,900 games exactly. Pujols is next with 2,680. Miguel Cabrera, who's currently on the DL, 2,264. Robinson Cano, who has just returned, he's got 2,038 games going into tonight's play.
Wow.
Longevity. This is in the air to shallow left. Mondesi going out. Gordon, the left fielder, calls him off and makes the catch. Martin's retired. The Blue Jays are done in the top of the 9th. 3 up, 3 down, and Ken Giles had a good 9th inning last night. Try to replicate that once again here tonight. 6-4 Blue Jays on Bark in the Park night. save here last night, had a perfect ninth inning, and we thought we'd show you this season by situations. When a save is on the line, he's been terrific. Not so in a non-save situation.
Takes it to the next level, doesn't he? With that save on the line, he hasn't given up a run. Torrance hit at 156. Outstanding whip, non-save situation. He's given up his share of home runs last night in a save situation. He got his 14th this season in 14 tries. 36 innings overall, 40 strikeouts, just 4 walks. He had a couple of strikeouts. He had a good breaking ball to finish off a couple of those hitters.
First pitch swinging is Rosal Herrera. 1 away. Now for a preview of what's coming up on Sportsnet Central, here's Ken Reed and Ivanka Osmak. Thank you very much, Ivanka. That's all coming up right after this ball game, so make sure you stay tuned for all of that. The Royals going to send up a pinch hitter. This is Ryan O'Hearn. O'Hearn played in Game 1 on Monday night, had a 3 RBI game, including a 2-run home run in the second inning. Hit that home run off Sean Reed-Foley, an opposite field home run into the bullpen in left.
He's got tremendous power. He homered in his first Royals game, first big league game. Then went into a little bit of a drought and then had that second home run the other day against Sean Reed-Foley.
There's that slider. It's a wicked breaking pitch. And I spoke to Giles about that pitch earlier today, and he said he throws it like his fastball, but just then rolls his hand over the top of the baseball and puts a lot of pressure on that middle finger to get that downward break. Swinging a drive, and this ball's got a chance. This ball is going to go. Ryan O'Hearn with a pinch home run. His second home run of the series. His third home run of the season. It's a 1-run game.
Drove in all 3 runs on Monday with a home run, a bases loaded walk, and he's going to drive in another one. He's a nice young man. I got a chance to talk with him around the batting cage today. Says he's always been a big power hitter. He's trying to hold his own here at the major league level. Breaking ball out over the plate. And O'Hearn clubs it into the bullpen to make it a 1-run game.
This is Brett Phillips, the center field. Another look at the swing from O'Hearn. His home run on Monday night went into the bullpen in left field. This one goes into the bullpen in right field. It's the 3rd home run for Kansas City tonight. Perez has the other 2. 97.
Oh yeah, he's got that too. You were talking about the breaking ball that he can snap off there. But he's got a big fastball, but he still has to locate that fastball. That time it was located on the outside corner.
Another good fastball in a good spot. 1 and 2. Martin at third now can back up. Phillips was a threat to bunt, but now with 2 strikes, that's not an issue. Phillips had a triple in the 7th and scored the 4th Royals run. It's a 6-5 game. It was a 6-5 game last night at the end of the ball game when Giles closed out the 9th inning. In the air, a mile high, smoke in foul territory. Moves underneath it and makes the catch. The Royals down to their final out. So it'll be Alcides Escobar, the last hope. Giles has saved 19 consecutive save opportunities. That's second active. Edwin Diaz of the Mariners has saved 28 in a row. Looking for his third save since coming to the Blue Jays. That knee buckling slider as he gets ahead of Escobar.
Well, he knows Escobar likes to swing early. He's got some extra base pop in that bat, so you can't give in to him.
And a mighty cut, fouls it straight back to the screen. He's behind 0-2. '79 for 93. Trying to go 3 for 3 since coming to the Blue Jays. Got it. Another good breaking ball, and Giles strikes out Escobar to end the ball game. He gives up a home run, but wraps it up as the Blue Jays have won back-to-back games. 6-5 each game. They have taken a 2-1 advantage in this 4-game series.
Marco Estrada was the man tonight, pitching into the 7th inning, gave up those 4 runs. That was it. The only problem he had was with Salvador Perez. They turned it over to the bullpen. Cepeda and Giles close it out. Hitting